Hey guys, welcome to another level 1 tables, equations and graphs viewer question. This question was sent to me through my Facebook page, so if you have any questions, send them through. I'll try my best to answer them before the next couple of days. So what we've got here is, in this question, we've got what he asked me was to find what's the maximum area, the dimensions that's going to produce the maximum area. Now what we've got here is we've got obviously we've got a fence that's being built, but one side is already kind of fenced off, so we don't really need to worry about this side. So we've got a rectangular fence, so we're going to have what we're going to do is we're going to put width times height, length times base. It doesn't matter how you want to do it. So because that x is already given there, I'm going to put the height as y, and as this person's attempted it, area equals x times y. Now the problem is he's only got 60 meters of fencing left. So if you think about it, if he's only got 60 meters fencing left, that means that length plus this length and this length is going to equal 60 meters. So what we really have is we've actually got two lots of x plus 1 y, and that's equal to 60 meters. Okay. So from here, the real simple step is that you rearrange y in terms of x. So we're going to rewrite this as, wrong pen. We're going to rewrite this as y is equal to 60. And when I bring 2x to the other side, it's going to become minus 2x. And that's all it is. I'm going to leave it as it is. So at this step, what I can do is I can actually replace y with 60 minus 2x, where in the area function. So I can literally rewrite this as area is equal to x multiplied by, instead of writing it as y, I could write it as 60 minus 2x. So expanding the brackets, we're going to get a is equal to 60x minus 2x squared. Now, at this point, what you can do is, if you want to figure out what the maximum point is, there's a lot of ways of doing this, right? So first step is, like, you could actually put this in the graphics calculator. So with the graphics calculator, you want to go into graph mode, click on that, and then just type in the equation 60x minus 2x squared. Now when you draw it, obviously we can't see anything here. What might be worth is just zooming out, and let's just see if that actually works. Still can't find it. I think you have to zoom out a few more times. There you go, and you start to see it there. So this number here, right, this graph is actually pretty horrible to actually try and figure out in the graphics calculator. Like, what I mean by that is that if I try and do gsolve and I try to find the maximum point, once it finds it, it's actually going to tell you that when x is equal to 15, the area is going to be 450. Now don't get confused with this y, because remember, we actually said area is equal to in function of x. So I guess going back to my original question, I shouldn't have really used y. I should have used another letter so you don't get confused. But anyway, we know what the answer is, but I'm going to show you guys how to do it another way as well. Okay, the other way of doing this is like this, and this always works as well. What you can do is, that this shape right here, it has a negative coefficient for x squared, for the value of x squared, which means your parabola is going to look something like this, right? So what you can do is you can actually figure out what your two x-intercepts are. So what I mean by that is that we put 60x minus 2x squared is equal to 0. And then we factorize the x and 2 as well. So we're going to get 2x is equal to 30 minus x, and then that's equal to 0. Now if you go back to your MCAT days, we've got 2x is equal to 0, or 30 minus x is equal to 0. Now if you don't have a graphics calculator, you can still do this method, and it just works out. So x is equal to 0, or in this case, when we rearrange x, we're going to get x is equal to 30. So that basically means that our graph is going to look something like this, where this point here is 0, and then this point here is 30. Now because a parabola is symmetrical, I know my parabola is not the best. Maybe I'll try and draw a symmetrical one. because the parabola is symmetrical, the halfway point between 0 and 30 is 15. So remember, if I go back to my graphics calculator answer, how I said that x has to equal 15. So that means x has to equal 15. Now, if x equals to 15, we can work out what the area is, and that's 60 multiplied by 15 minus 2 times 15 squared. So going back to the calculator, so remember how it came, 15 and 450? Well, let's go back to menu and try what happens with just the numbers. So we've got 60 times 15 minus 2 times 15 squared. And as you can see, the area is equal to 450. All right, so that's one way of doing this with algebra. Now, if you're struggling to come up with the equation, right? Like let's say you are struggling, I hope the mouse actually works, but let's say you're actually having some difficulties right here in this part. What you could also do is the other way is to get to this equation, you could actually take like you need 3 samples, right? So what I mean by 3 samples is this. So get like 3 diagrams. So here's my first diagram, here's my second diagram, and here's my third diagram. Remember, the edges have to add up to 60, right? So that means you could have 20, 20, and 20. All right, now in this case, the area is equal to 20 times 20, which equals to 400. All right, now the next one you could do is maybe you can do 25, because if the top part is 25, then the bottom part is 25, then your height is going to be 10. So in this case, the area is equal to 25 times 10, which is equal to 250. And you literally just keep going. So we could have like 15, 15, 15 and 50 is 30. So that means the side part is going to be 30, because remember that all the total is going to equal to 60. So then area is equal to 30 times 15, which equals to 450. All right. So once you get these 3 things, so if you don't know how to do, I'm particularly looking at this, if you're not comfortable with this, then you can actually do this method. Then what you do is you create a little table with x and the area. Now remember, the x is all the bottom numbers, so it's going to be 20, 25, and 15. And when x is 20, the area was 400. When x is 25, area was 250. When x is 15, area was 450. Now once we get like 3 values, 3 tables, we know there's going to be a quadratic. All right, so what we can do is go into menu, go into our stat mode, and literally punch in those numbers. So you got 20, 25, and 15. Then if you type in 400, 250, and 450, there's your thing. So now you can go calculate, graph 1, and you can see a kind of like a parabola shape. So I'm going to go trace and x squared. And as you guys see how you got minus 2, 60, and 0? And I think if I was to show you here, so if you notice, the minus 2 is there. There's my minus 2x squared. And then b value is 60. There's my 60. And then c value is 0, which means I don't really need to worry about it. So I could have written down the equation as area equals minus 2x squared plus 60x. And because c value is 0, just 0 as it is, just leave it like this. And then from here, I could have actually gone on to do this step here. Or you could just use the graphics calculator as well. Cool. Hopefully I answered the question in this one. But that's literally the kind of 2 different ways of doing this. All right. One, you can do it algebraically, or the other one, you can actually take like 3. I'm talking about this here. You can actually do like 3 examples, and then go to the step where you create a table, and then come to the equation. And then you still got to carry on to try and figure out what the maximum area is. Cool, that's basically it, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, don't forget to like and share this video, and also subscribe to keep up with the latest content. Anything else? Probably not, apart from good luck for your exams.